you all. We are here for a special edition of FB Live. We're going to talk about the euro because Johan's native currency is the euro. Although now it's more like the US dollars, okay? Because he has business in the US, but although his home is in Belgium and he runs on the euro, he has business in the US, which is good because now the euro is much weaker than the dollar. And I think this is because of Turkey, you know, the problems in Turkey. And he has also shown me, gladly shown me, because he reads French, analysis from a French economist, and also some paper cuttings from Europe, which we never see here. And this is very important because now I think we know the real situation in Europe. And I think the French article was not good, right? This morning that they had a, why don't you tell them? See, because this is what I worry about, because we in Malaysia, we don't know. We only know technicals, okay? You read the euro technicals, you think it's going to rebound, you think it's going to go down, or whatever you think. But I think for the longer term, you have to look at the fundamentals of what's going on in Europe. Because you have to remember, on Friday, the European Central Bank, the ECB of all people, just issued a warning that there might be contagion. I think this shocked many, and many of us did not understand, but Johan understands because he reads French. Can you tell them the news about the bank today? That's terrible.
So basically we are talking about the match being lighten up, and the match just happened to be the Turkish Lira. From all the places, I did not expect that to come. I don't know about you.
I didn't expect that.
I didn't know, but what happened is that Erdogan, as some great leaders do, open his mouth a few times, and then whenever he opens his mouth, the Turkish Lira, it just goes down, down, down. And he wants to fight a battle that he's going to lose anyway. So it's just a question of posture, I think. But so the Lira went down, and then suddenly someone realized, oh, wait a minute.
That's the best part. Only when it goes down.
Well, only when it goes down. You realize, oh, maybe some European banks are holding bonds from Turkey, and indeed, someone made some research, and they found out that there was the Spanish,
correct,
the German, and the French, of course.
And these are big economies.
Yeah, and we're talking about a couple of, well, not more than a couple of billions here. The French being more exposed apparently than the German ones. And what's interesting is that in the Times, I think it was in the Financial Times, it's clearly mentioned the name of the banks and what countries. And when you look at the news in France, they just suddenly forgot about the French banks. Are they really looking, are they scared of a run? I don't know. I mean, is the economy that bad? Where you hide important financial information? And remember, if you are in Europe, anywhere in Europe, even not in Europe, even if you are in Norway, Sweden and all that, do not leave any money in the bank. You can have as much debts you want, but don't leave cash. This will be the talk, another talk. It's about the bail-in that the European imposed it on all across Europe and more countries. So the next time there is a financial crisis, which I would say is by end of the year, early next year, all the people, when a bank fails, they will not bail out the bank. They will take your money in the bank to help the bank. That they've done that before. Cyprus. So they're just going to expand it this time, and it's going to be bigger, and I would say stronger. The stronger problems, bigger and stronger problems. So to come back to our issue, so Lira goes down, then we realize, oh, there's some banks that owns the debts of the Turks. maybe we should think about that.
Lira.
And so that impacted the euro.
Yeah.
The euro went like from here, zoom.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because if you see the lira, it's going exponential.
Yeah.
You
Seven.
show-
It touched 7.
It's 7. So
Yeah.
it went from how much to how much?
About 4.86 to 7, 40%.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've been warning about the crash,
Correct.
the big financial crash, which is going to be bigger than the last one.
Correct.
We just didn't know where it could start.
Correct.
So this is just like a match,
Yes.
and whether the fire will take over that match, we don't know. That's quite
Yes.
interesting. I was even myself was taken a bit aback, but you just have to remember, don't leave any money in the bank if in European bank. Even if you're insured and all that, forget about the insurance.
Correct.
There's no money in the insurance, by the way. They don't insure it with money, they insure it with a loan. So, and, you know.
I hope it's not Turkish Lira.
And the second thing, get ready, the economy is going to go down, the euro,
Yes.
and that's why, and because of Trump being Trump,
Yes.
what you don't see much in the European press is that the economy is actually doing very well in the US. Like when I say very well, I know. I go there often.
Correct.
I'm building houses there. They're taken up like that. So economy is doing well. The money is moving to the dollar and to the US.
Correct.
And it's moving quite much from Europe and out of the euro.
I'm
rapidly.
surprised that this is not being discussed in Europe openly. No one
Well,
wants to admit it.
It's I don't know. Something is not right, and this is how it is. Press is the press. We'll see how much they will disclose, but BNP Paribas surely has at least, I think, 10 billions of bad Turkish debts.
That's bad. Yeah.
And they made a provision apparently for 200 and something million.
They already made a provision.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it's only 200
Okay.
and
It's
something
only
million,
200
so
something million,
they
yeah.
stand to lose.
Yeah.
What I was reading was interesting. One of the company that is linked to these issues, the director is none other than the guy who was the boss of Mark Caviel, the guy who lost I think 5 billion trading for
Yes, that hedge fund. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So-
Okay.
so
So that was
rid-
5 billion. Now they stand to lose 10. That's
Yeah, that's
that looks like it. 5, 10.
No, but that was on General. That was
a
a
society. Yes.
Société
General,
Générale.
yeah.
So interesting that it's moving. This is a spark.
Yes.
There's a small fire. Whether it's going to take this time, no. But
Yes.
be assured that ultimately there's a big fire coming up to Europe, and some people will suffer.
Yeah, just imagine you owe people like 100,000. Suddenly in 2 days you owe people 140,000.
Yeah.
Are you going to you're going to go like, what? I'm not going to pay, right? That is the risk now that the Turkish banks do not want to pay, because suddenly they have to pay 40% more. In fact, if you go to the early
No,
of the
more.
year, they have to pay like 80% more.
Yeah.
I borrowed 100,000, then you're saying I have to pay like 180,000. This, it might be better off for me to just default and not pay.
So we'll see how it goes. Of course, in the balance, you have to take into account two things. One, Turkey is part of NATO.
Correct.
And if I remember, they have some. NATO has some nuclear missiles over there, and interesting see how this is going to go. The other things that I see is that Erdogan is blaming the whole world
Yes.
for a problem that has been going on for quite a while.
Yes.
And it's just
Yeah.
it's just the normal way, I would say. If you look at Venezuela, blame the other ones. If you look at If you look at South Africa, blame the other ones.
Yeah.
And we've met that a few times in the past, in the history, in Asia.
That too. That
You
too.
remember that, right?
I remember that when someone opened up his mouth 20 years ago, right? The ringgit just went down, and we saw that, right, during the Asian currency crisis. But Johan's right. This has been going on for 10 years. You know, once upon a time, 10 years ago, one US dollar, 10 years ago, on the Lira, one US dollar was 1.18 Lira. 1 Lira was like 360, 380 ringgit. You know, 1 Lira, 380 ringgit. Today, 1 US dollar is like 7 Lira, and 1 ringgit is like 80 cents Turkey. So, you know, the Turkish are worse off. Last time they could come here and they say, oh, everything in Malaysia is 3 times cheaper. Now we go there and they still don't want to reduce the price because now everything's in euro.
Or in dollar.
Yeah, or in dollar, right? You were there, right? It doesn't get cheap, right? Because we are all celebrating. Say, yeah, I want to go to Turkey. No. They're more cleverer. They're making money out of this. Yeah.
So that's interesting. And so I think tomorrow what we could do is also talk about what happened 20 years ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
And I think that's your strengths, and some of my strengths is that.
Correct. Because I got burned 20 years ago.
Big time or small time?
Big time.
Oh.
I will talk about it tomorrow. I made a lot of money in the stock market. I kind of lost everything, like every single cent, because you know when the stock goes from like $5 to like 45 cents. And now that stock is 15 cents, you kind of lose everything, right?
You kind of lose.
Yeah, you still have 15 cents, but if you want to count that,
I know the feeling.
It's an accounting error.
I know the feeling. So yeah, the one of the strengths that you have is that you relate to the past, and history tends of repeats itself. I mean, and also you are very good in 3 class of assets that are they are the shares, the cryptocurrency, which is, for me, it's not a currency, it's an asset.
It's an asset.
And then you have the forex, and you can jungle and learn from one and jump from one to another, which I find quite interesting. I'm not at that level yet, but in terms of property, that I know, and that's why I'm in property in the US.
Correct.
And,
so you're in the right place.
Yeah, because now the trick is to, I mean, I've taken quite a bit of debts in Europe, and what's going on now in the US, the business is doing okay. It's quite growing, and so and on top of that, I bought the dollar when it was small. So
You're better off.
But I gained twice. Because I bought the dollar when it was low. I started investing there, and now the dollar is up. I can start paying back the debt.
Yes.
So
yes,
for me,
correct.
it's just
it's good. Yeah, and interest rates in euro is low.
Very low.
Very low, and you know the US is doing very well. So that's the trick. And that's why you guys too must have multiple currencies somewhere.
And remember, good debts and bad debts.
Yes,
we're not talking about.
Yeah, we're not talking about Aston Martin. That's another topic.
And we're not talking about credit card debts and things like that.
Yes, this is very interesting. So I think that I agree with Johan. This is the spark that lights a fire. Yeah, it's lighting a fire in Turkey. I believe that's a small fire, but there's a future inferno somewhere. You know.
Yeah, and then they threw the fireball to Europe. And then Europe, we have some debt. So interesting.
Yeah, we didn't know. Nobody knew that. We didn't know that.
Let's see how it goes. And
yes, because as usual, guys, we are investors. We always think it can never happen to us. We always thought the euro. Who would take Turkish debt? Well, apparently they are. Right, and then same thing like us last time when we were in Asia. We thought the Asian financial crisis could not have happened, and I'm sure the Americans thought the same way in 2008. And I'm sure the Europeans, until Friday, thought the same way, that no way this is coming to our shores, but it's on the periphery of our shores, of the European shores, because some people say Turkey is half Europe and half Asia. What is the European thing? Is Is Turkey Europe or Asia? Because one part is in Europe,
That's
the Bosphorus, you know. Another
that's
part
a
is
sensitive issue, and we'll talk about that
We'll talk
on the
about that.
next one.
Not the next one, right? So again, remember, so we're gonna go now, but we're gonna come back to you tomorrow at the same time, where he's gonna talk about a very exciting topic. Okay, 20 years ago. I don't know if he remembers. I remember very well.
I remember. I did not get burned because at that time I had nothing much. I was just starting, and
that was good because I had much, then I got burned.
Yeah. So,
then I really ended up with nothing.
but I did so that I did miss amazing opportunities.
Yes,
and
yes,
I have friends who were like. People were begging them to buy Ferraris and things like that at a ridiculous price.
Yes.
So this is this going to come back? This is something we are going to discuss.
Something we're going to discuss. I know it's going to come back in Europe, but Europe has drive wheel on the other side. Never mind, you can buy a motorbike there. Okay? You can buy a motorbike and take it here, and you can park it in my condo because I have like 2 parking.
Yeah, you got 3 parkings.
Yeah. You can park many motorbikes in my condo. Okay, the car I'm not sure is driving on the other side, but maybe we can go to the UK. But UK is out of European Union. They saved themselves. They copped out. The UK copped out.
They did the right move, I think. We'll see.
We'll see. Okay, so I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow. See you. Bye bye.
Take care.
Take care.